On a Tuesday morning that seemed like any other in the Capitol, the heavy hitters of American finance received a call they couldn't ignore. This wasn't a standard policy briefing or a discussion on interest rates. US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell had issued an urgent short-notice summons to the CEOs of the nation's systemically important banks, David Solomon of Goldman Sachs, Jane Fraser of Citigroup, and leaders from Bank of America and Wells Fargo converged on the Treasury Department. The topic? A single piece of software that had just changed the rules of war and wealth, Claude Mythos. Developed by Anthropic, Mythos isn't just another chatbot. According to internal reports and intelligence briefings, it is a frontier model with a terrifying accidental capability. It can find and exploit software vulnerabilities with a speed and accuracy that surpasses almost any human hacker in existence. To understand the panic, we have to understand what Mythos actually is. Anthropic didn't set out to build a cyber weapon. Mythos was trained to be a master of logic, reasoning, and coding. But in the world of artificial intelligence, emergence is the wild card. During private stress tests, Mythos did something unprecedented. It began identifying zero-day vulnerabilities, flaws in software that even the developers didn't know existed. It found a vulnerability in OpenBSD, a system renowned for its security that had remained hidden for 27 years. It flagged a bug in FFmpeg, a tool used in almost every video platform that had survived 5 million automated tests without being caught. Anthropic's own developers were so unsettled by its capability to chain these exploits together, moving from one flaw to another to take over an entire system, that they hit the kill switch on a public release. For the first time in the AI arms race, a major lab declared their model too dangerous for the public. Why the banks? Because the global financial system is a house of cards built on code. Banks like JPMorgan Chase and Goldman Sachs operate on a mix of cutting-edge AI and legacy systems. Code written in the 70s and 80s that is still the backbone of global transactions. If a model like Mythos or a leaked version of it falls into the hands of state-sponsored hackers or sophisticated cartels, the discovery to exploit timeline collapses. What used to take a team of elite hackers 6 months could now take an AI 6 minutes. This is what regulators call systemic risk. If one major bank's ledger is compromised by an AI-driven breach, the contagion could freeze global markets in hours. This is why the Fed and the Treasury are no longer treating AI as a tech issue, but as a national security emergency. Here is where the story takes a bizarre, almost noir turn. While the Treasury is urging banks to work with Anthropic, the Department of Defense is fighting them in court. Earlier this year, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth branded Anthropic a supply chain risk. The reason? Anthropic refused to remove safety guardrails that prevent their AI from being used in autonomous weapons or for mass surveillance of Americans. This has created a Washington schism. The Pentagon calls them a threat. The Treasury calls them the only hope for financial defense. It's a paradox that highlights the government's struggle to wrap its head around a technology that moves faster than the law. Narrator. In response to the threat, Anthropic launched Project Glasswing. It's a defensive alliance involving the big tech giants, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Apple, and now the big banks. The strategy is simple: fight fire with fire. The banks are being given early, controlled access to Mythos to find the holes in their own armor before the bad guys. Build their own versions of the model. Anthropic has even put up $100 million in credits to fund this defensive sprint. But critics argue this is a double-edged sword. By giving the banks the tool, are we just accelerating the inevitable? Cybersecurity expert Claude Mythos warns that it's only a matter of months before a comparable model leaks or is built by a rival nation. As we move into the second half of 2026, the meeting at the Treasury serves as a historical marker. It was the day the world realized that the most dangerous weapon in the 21st century isn't a missile, it's a prompt.